All right, Cowboy Nation, I'm back. Hopefully we got a better screen this time. We got a better connection this time. I'm not sharing on X on this one. Maybe that might have been what the problem with man that happened with the first screen because I was sharing on X as well as trying to share with y'all and sometimes that, oh Lord, I don't believe I went out like that. And that might have hurt my screen when I was on there. So I'm back. So we should have a better screen this time. This time I had no problems of coming in. So we should have a better connection here. So we're gonna try to get in. Um, excuse me for trying to get what's good, what's going on, man. Now we a little bit better. Excuse me for trying to do this YouTube thing. I think when I share my videos on X at the same time, that kills my Wi-Fi and probably my memory when I'm trying to get this computer added on is is really trying to get this computer stuff together, man. I'm not a computer thing. I'm a football coach, and I work in the business field, but I still ain't no computer guy. But let's talk, people. Cowboy Nation. Well, how we feeling, man? How we feeling that we into football now, man? We are. It's just very shortly, man. I think we got a preseason game coming up. Very, not too far. I think we got a practice session coming up with the Rams coming up, man. We put on pads today, and it was some very interesting things that were said by Schottenheimer in this press conference that I want to touch bases on. We have the Jake Ferguson contract that was signed. I know some people want to talk about that. I hadn't had a chance to look at the deal, but based off with the Jake Ferguson deal, how fast it was done and how early it was done, I don't think it was a long-term deal. I don't think okay. It may say a long-term. I think it's $30 million for 4 years. So you're talking about an average of about $7 million, a little bit over $7 million a year. Don't get crazy about it. Says 52 coach and he 4 years he getting over $11 million. No, it's really $30 million over 4 years, which is going to average about $7 million really of the true average per year. When you look at the contract, we need to look at Spotify and they'll tell you how much money did he get up front and when does his guaranteed money runs out. That will kind of tell you where this contract is. 30, like I said, 30 million guaranteed over 4 years, basically $7 million a year. Don't take that $52 million and say, oh, he's getting 4 years and $52 million. That's what, again, I'm gonna tell you, that is what the media is gonna push. That is a $15 million signing bonus. So what that says, let me just give you, and I hadn't seen a lot of the contract. He gets $15 million up front. So if the contract says guaranteed $30 million, okay, he was in the last year of his contract this year. So what they did was, listen, I'm just trying to give y'all something. What they did was that they guaranteed this year, which I don't know what that money was. It might have been $1 or $2 million. They guaranteed this year. Then they guaranteed $28 more million. They say it was $2 million he's supposed to get this year. They guaranteed that. And then there was probably another $28 million they guaranteed for the next 4 years. They gave him $15 million up front. So that means he's got $15 million that he's got guaranteed money for the next 3 years. I know y'all saying, oh, that looks like a great deal. No, that's a very team-friendly deal for the Cowboys. You have to look at, and I don't know what Spotify has said, but when you look into it, you'll see, if y'all go on to Spotify and y'all look at these deals, make sure you look at the deals. And when you look at the deals, they'll usually give you what they call an out year. And they'll say, where's the out? And they'll show you what year the out is. Now, let me explain what an out is. An out doesn't mean that the contract is dead. An out means this. It's the time when they can get out of the contract, either release or let you go, where the dead money is minimal. And usually when the dead money is under $10 million, around $7 to $8 million, or if the dead money 14 million, and we could do it as a post-June 1st cut and split that dead money over 2 years, where it'd be $7 million a year. Whenever the dead money is under $10 million and probably around $7 million, that's considered an outable contract. Teams don't get mad when you got dead money under $10 million because that happens all the time. But when the dead money is double digits, $14, $15 million, and you can't get out of that, teams don't like that. So they try to make sure that's not when you can get out of a contract. Now, let me give you my things on Ferguson. I like Ferguson. And it's going to go into what I said about, it's going to go into my next, one of my topics I'm talking about today, about how the offense is going to run. But I want to caution you something. And I always try to be honest and real with you. Ferguson has had three concussions already that have been what we call severe concussions. So if he get concussed again this year and he has to miss time, it's going to be a red flag to the NFL, and it's going to be a red flag to him. Now, will he be good this year? I think he's going to be awesome. But if he had that many concussions, it was a great point for him to go ahead and sign that deal. If he could have bet on himself and got a much better deal for long term based off what he could have done, but it was great for him to sign that deal and to guarantee himself $30 million in his career. And that's great. But again, $30 million, $15 million up front, that means you got $15 million of guaranteed money you got to pay him in the next 3 years. When a team said they is out, that means your guaranteed money is almost gone, and your dead cap hit is not going to be, it's going to be minimal. And the Cowboys do not like to play cap, they don't care about dead cap. Jerry do not like to pay players money, and they're not playing for the Cowboys. See, I think some of y'all get misunderstood when y'all don't misunderstand. When y'all hear dead money, y'all think the players still get money. No. Go on, and when you look at these contracts, you'll see what the guaranteed money and the guaranteed money, and they'll show you what they're gonna get per year. Once the guaranteed money is gone, that don't mean that they don't have a cap hit. The cap hit goes like that $52 million. That's what we call monopoly money. They still have to carry a percentage on their books, but it's not the actual money that's going into their pockets. Ezekiel Elliott was on the cap when he got first released the first time. Ezekiel Elliott was on the books for like $6 million on the Dallas Cowboys books when he was playing in New England. He didn't get $6 million from the Cowboys. He still was just counting $6 million on their cap. Okay? But the Joneses don't do like a lot of other teams. A lot of other teams say, if we want to get rid of you, we don't care if we have to pay you some money. We want you out the building. The Joneses do that in coaching. Now, I'm going to say this, and then we're going to go on to about training camp. This training camp for Schottenheimer should have started last year. It should have started this year. You did a travesty to this team by having a lame duck head coach and a lame duck staff. That doesn't win in the NFL. And the only reason Zimmer came back is because Zimmer wanted to try one more time to coach, and he found that, it was too taxing, and he had to hire guys that would take 1 year deals. That's very uncommon to hire guys to your staff for 1 year deals. Most assistant coaches don't even take that. So when you did that 1 year deal type thing, reason why the Joneses did this, Jerry said this in an interview last year. He said that the NFL has over, I don't know how many millions of dollars that they're paying in dead cap money to coaches and GMs across the league. coaches and GMs. What was he talking about? He wasn't talking about when coaches and GMs, you talking about dead money. That's not the cap money they play for players. Coaches and GMs, when they get fired early, you owe them their money for their contract. So you fire a guy that he's on a 4 or 5 year contract, you fire him after year 2, you still owe him for 2 more years. And around the league, you see with other teams fire general managers when they just sign them with contracts, they fire coaches because they fire coaches at the drop of the hat. And they fire assistant coaches at the drop of the hat because other teams in this league, if they don't like what you're doing, they get your butt up out of there. They don't wait around and waste a year for somebody to do something and hang around and not produce, even though they know they're not going to produce because they scared to pay you money because you're gone. The Joneses do that because Jerry got this complex of saying, I hate paying people who's not in the building. So he would sacrifice a year like last year just to pay these guys they won last year so he could start over scratch with another coaching staff. And now McCarthy, all these other assistant coaches ain't getting another penny for the Cowboys. Where he should have started this last year, and McCarthy and Schottenheimer should have been his second year with this team, and his continuity, his thing would have been in place already. That's the thing that a lot of y'all don't follow with the Cowboys. Y'all see, think about it. Don't y'all see coaches get fired and they got big contracts, they still got long contracts all over the league? That money don't go nowhere. But listen, there's universities, college football coaches. They fire people that they got contracts because they want them out the door, and they'll pay them their money. They'll negotiate. If you got like $50 million left on your contract, they'll negotiate with you and say, we'll spread that over 10 years and we'll pay you $5. But you're going to get all that coach all his money. But the Joneses, since Jason Garrett, remember, they let Jason Garrett go to his last year's contract. So when Jason Garrett left out the building, the Cowboys owed him nothing. They do the same thing with McCarthy. Get to the last year, and then they owe him nothing. That's that old school thinking about, oh, I'm not paying nobody. But listen, you put your team back a whole year by having lame duck coaches because you knew that if you really thought that they was going to get you to where you supposed to be in, you would have went out in free agency last year and you would have signed them to extensions. You're telling us already when you don't sign a guy to extension and you didn't really help the team with any type of free agents, you already told us that you didn't believe in the coaching staff to get you across the mountain. So why did you waste a whole year of our thinking when you could have started last year and this thing could have been farther along? I'm not telling you nothing crazy, Cowboy Nation. Think about it. Conversation. You already knew if you knew this guy that was going to do that, you would have gave him extension. You had a whole entire coaching staff on 1-year deals. You had 15, 16 players, 20-some players on 1-year deals. So you already knew that you didn't think that this team was equipped last year. You wasted a whole year when you could have started Schottenheimer's reign last year. But Jerry them get up there and try to talk about injuries is all they know. You did something no other organization does, and nobody in Dallas Cowboy land or in the building or the media in Dallas is calling you out for doing something that don't win. Lame duck coaching staffs in the league don't win. Because really there's no loyalty. Soon as things start going bad, guess what? Everybody goes self-preservation. So, Jake Ferguson got a job. He's got here, so he's locked in. He said, hey, man, I got a deal. If he does well, like I think when I'm about to tell you about this offense, $7 million a year is going to seem like a steal for the next 2 to 3 years. And mind you, this is probably his last contract with the Cowboys. So he secured himself in an environment, and he said, hey, man, $7 million, because if he does well, the average price for a guy that I think what he's going to have the opportunity to do is going to be 10, 11, 12 million. But he made the contract look like it's 11 million because they did a 4-year, 52 million. But really, it's only 30 million guaranteed, 15 million up front. So don't fall for the woo-woo, wee-woo. And I'll tell you something else. Anytime a Cowboy player like you think about in the past that signed a extension out of nowhere this fast, you best believe it's team friendly. And if you look into it, you will see where there's a steal. But let's understand the player benefits too. Because, like I said with Jake Ferguson concussions, and y'all please look into this, he has had some bad concussions in his career. It's good for Jake Ferguson because let's say if he gets a concussion this year and the NFL starts to look at him like, wait a minute, then he may never get a contract. He may never get a 4-year, $30 million guarantee. He might not get $7 million a year. So he took when the getting was good and he gave the Cowboys what they wanted in a friendly contract, and he got at least some very good money for him to say, I solidify my future somewhat. Hey, now let's talk about, we do contract talk. Y'all can learn something about, that's my background, finance. Hey man, listen, the Cowboys think we dumb on certain things. They always wanted, and listen, one thing about the Cowboys do, they promote themselves, and they're gonna always promote the brand of the NFL. And the NFL is always going to protect the shield of the NFL, and they're going to always try to make the NFL contracts look like they're very big, but they cannot compare with baseball and basketball. That money is guaranteed. If Ferguson signed a 4-year, $52 million contract in basketball, I don't care if you're playing for the best team or the star team, he was going to get every bit of that $52 million. Here, he may get 30, and that's it. Okay, let's go to where I think this offense and the things I heard from Schottenheimer that he said. One, talking in his press conference, he said something that I love. He said, our Cowboys got to build some calluses. Ooh, let's unpack that right there. He said, we got to build some calluses. This subject of I think I said on another show that you can't take away physicality from football. And building calluses is what keeps you away from injury. This thing I'm about to talk about here, I get in a lot of discussions with a lot of people, and a lot of people say, Coach, you just old school and things don't do it that way. But I'm asking everybody in the chat, I want y'all to think about this. Is it more injuries now in the league with better players than it was when we was doing 2 or 3 day practices? We didn't have as many injuries of our top players. Why? Because players then were seasoned well that they didn't have as many hamstring hits. They didn't get hurt on every little bump and bruise when they got on the field. They built calluses. They were tougher. I hear people talking about the athletes are better, but are they tougher? And toughness is a part of football. You can have all the athletic ability in the world. But toughness, what do you do when you meet the guy that just is athletic in you and he is tougher? Who usually wins in that case? So Schottenheimer said we got to build some calluses. That means that he wants his team to be tough. He wants his team to have some ruggedness into them, that they're learning how to practice at a high level all the time. Not going over that level. That's not mean about fighting. That's not about being cheap shots, but that means playing very hard and playing rough. It's almost like when you have your children, you have a boy, and you say he likes to play rough. Doesn't mean he goes overboard, but he likes to play rough. And you play rough with him, and you get him to a point where every time he falls down, he don't cry and say, I'm gonna start screaming like somebody done broke him up. You play rough with him. Now it's not that you go overboard, but you give him a rough atmosphere so he builds calluses. Calluses is his body is used to having little mishaps, not big mishaps, little mishaps. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to kill the injury of the soreness bug, of the bump and bruise, because in a football team, you got to play hurt. There's a difference between playing hurt and playing injured. Now, injured, you can't play injured. Injured means I have an injury that it stops me from performing. Playing hurt means I feel with some discomfort, but I can still perform. So he's trying to build calluses with his team. And yes, I see somebody in here. When you build calluses with your team and you build a toughness with your team, it builds number 3 in my keys of a culture that you're building here. I'm not in my other platform, but I'm going to go back to that. You remember Coach Marv's 5 building blocks to a culture that Schottenheimer is trying to build here? Physicality. That talks about physicality. That's number 1. Discipline. That's number 2, the building block to a culture that you're trying to build in here. Schottenheimer trying to build. Coach Marv's a building block. He's trying to build a culture of physicality, but he also want to build a culture of discipline to say, hey, we know when to go at it and not going overboard. Number 3 is mental toughness. As somebody put in here, this where it starts. Building calluses and building a tough-minded team builds you mentally, so when you get into rough spots, like when our Cowboys get into big games, or we meet competition that's equal to us, it builds a competition level mentally that you don't give up, and you can take losses, but you know how to get back and get wins. Competition does not mean you win all the time. Competition means that you understand the competition, you're able to accept the challenge, you'll be able to take a loss, but you're going to get wins because you want to win the end goal. And you're going to be firm to that to win the end goal. So that's the third building block of mental toughness, which I think we lack very much in the last 5 or 6 years. And I think that's the biggest one we need to work on. But number 4 in my building blocks was what? Coaches / leadership. Schottenheimer has said time and time again that they're trying to teach this team how to practice. So what he said today about building calluses, they trying to teach you that you practice at a certain level all the time. And for some of y'all out there, you know what that means? They're trying to practice at a level that says, I don't want to get to game day and you got to go up to level 10. I want you to be at level 7 to 8 all the time, so you only got to go 3 levels up. I don't want to get a team that's always practicing at level 4 or level 3, and then I'm asking you when game time comes to go up 7 levels to get game ready. Because what's that's going to do? Know what that's going to do? You're going to be an inconsistent football team. If it's just like y'all talking about my Wi-Fi monster. You want to get on here, and some of y'all content creators already out there know it, and I don't know, I'm just learning. You want to go in and have a strong screen from the start with. Everything that you do on your Wi-Fi, on your show, you want to have a strong signal. You don't want to start off with a signal that's at mid-grade and think when you get on Wi-Fi onto a show that it can get up to top level. You want to be at top level or close to it all the time, because if you don't have top level all the time, you're going to have an inconsistent stream. And what inconsistent means is going to be just like my show was just a few minutes ago. I got an inconsistent stream of Wi-Fi. I come on, I wasted a couple of minutes going live, and then I had to get out the stream to come back again. That's inconsistent. What inconsistent does, it makes you have bad production. Same thing in football. You want to have consistent, disciplined, physical play. That's the fourth thing. What I said, coaching / leadership. He wants the leadership on the field. He wants his leader to lead, but the coaches are showing them how to practice. Same stuff that should have been started last year. But then we go, let's go back. We go there. And number 5, that's number 4, but number 5 is talent. Now they're trying to get the talent to shine. And how you get your talent to shine, they're learning our players. And this is what I'm going to talk about, what I'm seeing in training camp with our players. What I'm seeing in training camp, they're using our players at their talent, and they're using them over and over and over again at what they do best. And let me give you some examples. They're throwing the ball to Blue. What Blue was good that they say coming out of college? In the open field and catching the ball. They're even throwing the ball to Blue down the field. One-hand catches. What they're doing is they're using Blue's skill set to get him in the open field, and if he can catch, let's feed him the ball catching. Now, is he going to get 15 targets a game? No. But we're going to give him the targets what he does well, and we're going to do that over and over again. If you take a player and you do what they do well, and you give them a situation where they do that over and over again, guess what? Their chances for success goes up greatly. If you give them stuff to do that they don't do well, what you think their chances of success does? It goes down. And when you got young players, what you trying to build? You're trying to build their confidence. That's what we heard Tyler Guyton last year. 2 things hurt Tyler Guyton last year. 1, he had that respiratory problem. And listen, some players are not just ready to step into a new environment right off the bat. Think about it. But when he missed so much time in practice because he had that respiratory infection, and then he missed like two weeks, now you're going to have a chance. And when you miss weeks, then when you get back, you already behind, and now we're moving into another thing. We don't have the chance to put our offense to do stuff that you do well. And then we put you in stuff that you don't do well, and you have problems with it. It hurts your confidence. And if I kill your confidence, I'm almost going to kill you a year as a rookie. And then we have coaching malpractice because we put him in situations that didn't make him comfortable. That's how you handle your talent. And what coach said, and go back to my other video. I want y'all to go to my playlist and look at my other video when I talk about what I talk about in talent. I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna have a show and I'm gonna have when I get some more memory put on this old PC of mine and get my stuff so I can come out with displays. But what did I say about talent? Yes, we got talent on this team, but what did I tell you coaches can do with talent? There ain't about 4 things a coach can do with talent that he's asked to do with talent. And that's any talented player. Any player that you got in this training camp, they're talented. If you're in the training camp in the NFL, you're talented. Now, if you make it or not, but if you're in a training camp, you're talented. It's 4 things that a coach is asked to do with talent. 1, motivate the talent. Schottenheimer's, they are always trying to motivate our talent with competition. You see, they're always trying to do the motivation tactic. 2, motivate your talent, right? Number 2, hold your talent accountable. got to hold your talent accountable. So if you're a run stopper, I hear somebody put somebody about a UCLA guy. If you're a run stopper and that's what your talent is, and I put you into the game to do one job that I have seen you do good all the time, and if you don't do that job, guess what? I get on your case because I'm not asking you to do something that's not your forte. I'm asking you to do what's your forte and what I see you do well. So when you don't do that, I got to hold you accountable. The third thing with a talented player, any player, the coach is only supposed to do with talented players because a coach can't make talent. You can't make a guy something that he's not. You can't make talent. Only people can make talent is the mom and dad when they bring the child to the world. Or the girl, the guy, the son, whatever. That's the talent right there. Your job is what? Motivate, hold them accountable. And the third thing is you're supposed to refine the talent of that player. Whatever you see as the talent, you're supposed to make it better. Do y'all see guys that are fast runners? They got speed. And you say, man, with a little coaching, they can get even faster. Does the coach add speed to them? Does the coach go in and make them they already got the talent of being fast, but the coach refines them about how they run, the movement of how they run, the strength with them. They refine their talent. And when the player doesn't run at full speed, when the player can go faster, they hold the player accountable. And they motivate them to always do their best. Those are three things that you could do with a talented player. And the last thing you could do with a talented player, this is what coaches are asked to do, put the guy in a situation and in the spot where his talent is going to shine. I would not put Michael Parsons as safety or cornerback. Yes, he's talented and he probably run faster than some corners. Yes, he probably could play it in somewhere. But I'm going to put him in the situation that his talent is going to shine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to motivate them. I'm going to hold them accountable. I'm going to refine their skills, and I'm going to put them in the place where they're big. And Schottenheimer is doing all of these with the players that he's got on this team. Every guy got talent. You don't have to be an all-star to contribute to a championship team. I ask you this. Y'all remember the OKC Thunder? Yes, Gilchrist is outstanding. Some of the other guys got paid that before the season, none of y'all would have been talking about these guys were talented, that talented. Y'all might have said Gilchrist, but y'all wouldn't have talked about the other guys. Guess what? Putting them in the right spot, holding them accountable to what they do well, playing as a team, they got a collection of guys to play at the top of level. Now y'all calling them superstars, but they got rings. Some of y'all out there want to go get superstars that's already past the time. But guess what? Opportunity makes superstars. And some of these guys need some opportunity, and some of them need to go through the growing pains of being able to be held accountable and working through. But believe you me, people, we got some players on this team that probably can do a great role. But we have to give them the opportunity and we have to coach them well. So Schottenheimer talks about that, man, and those things he's already building culture. Yes, he said about building calluses. I like what he said about that. He's trying to build a team that has some toughness. Now, let's talk about what he's doing with the players. I told you what they're doing with Blue. They're throwing the ball to the running backs. I can believe that they're throwing the ball to the runner. I think me and Boss Cowboy talked about this on many shows. Troy Aikman, if y'all want to talk about Hall of Famers, Troy Aikman. Let's talk about another Hall of Famer. Joe Montana, I know I'm going any farther. Even Tom Brady. If you look at the history of those quarterbacks and the amount of passes they threw to their running backs, you'll be amazed. They threw to the running backs. Why do you throw the running backs? Because throwing to the running backs, one, check downs or just throwing it to the running backs it spreads the field. It's hard to guard. Most times teams are zoning underneath. They're not going to put a running back. Most times people don't put man-to-man coverage unless they're doing a wheel route. And really in a wheel route, really basically the wheel route is picked up by the linebacker because the running back comes through his zone, and once he comes through his zone, he has to go in and want man-to-man. But most times you try to zone the flats with zone people. A lot of people don't want to guard that. So if you get those balls out there, because if they take away 1 and 2, you get the ball out your hands quick to them, usually running backs are going to get yards. Second reason why you throw the ball to running backs a lot, you always get positive plays. The worst thing you can get in the offense is a negative play or a no gain. Defense wants you to get negative plays or no gain. But every time you get 3 to 4 yards on every down, it puts pressure on the defense. In the past, Dak was throwing to the running backs as a second thought, like, well, if none goes, and then I'll try to get to the running back. But I can see in this offense that they're throwing to the running backs on some plays as a first option, which is very good. It's going to make the game easier for Dak, and it's going to make CeeDee Lamb better. I have seen in this training camp, or heard in this training camp, that they have thrown the ball to Jake Ferguson and Span Ford more in these couple of days than they probably did all the training camp last year. That means the tight end is going to be a weapon in this offense, and they're not just going to be catching 5-yard passes. So you say, well, Coach, no, well, we got 2 amazing receivers in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. This offense is going to utilize the tight ends, the running backs, the 4th, 3rd wide receiver. They're going to use them to make CeeDee Lamb and Pickens explosive, not CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens to make the tight end, the running backs, and the 3rd wide receiver explosive. Let me unpack that. A lot of you think if we attack with the CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens make big plays, well, then then the other guy's gonna get open. No. Listen, man. They understand the defenses ain't stupid, man. They understand the mantra of CeeDee Lamb. They know his resume. They know George Pickens' resume. So evidently, they're not going to trust from the beginning up. They're going to give them attention. But when you start hurting them from the beginning with Jake Ferguson getting 10, 15, 20 yards, Span Ford getting catches and first downs, running backs catching the ball, now what you do is you make the defense expand its coverages. What that does then, it makes your better guys get more room to operate. So going to them early and just feeding Pickens and Lamb ain't gonna open it up no more for the other guys. You're gonna utilize them to open it up for your big guys. And what you want your big guys to do is not play pity pat. You want to open it up for Pickens and Lamb for right crosses, straight right hands, hooks, Tyson blows. Now, let me explain to you what I say about Tyson blows. How many times y'all seen Michael Tyson throw a jab? Did he jab people to death? Everything he threw was a power punch. Well, when I want the majority of the passes thrown to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens to be power punches. We're going to open it up with you, but we want to hurt you with them, not play pity-pat with you. Run the ball to control the game. Run the ball to control the game. Run the ball to control the game, to set the tempo of the game, and to get what you want on the offense. But pass to score points. Let me say that again. So for some people in the back, so y'all can understand. Run the ball to control the game, to set the tempo, to set the table to get whatever you want. Pass and score points. If you try to throw the ball to set the tempo and control the game, it's going to be very hard. Control the physical part, be able to keep teams off balance, control the tempo, and strike big. That's been the philosophy of football since the beginning of time, and it ain't changed. It ain't changed. So I like what I see about throwing the ball to the running backs. I like what I see about throwing the ball to the tight end. I love what I see about that because utilizing them to the top. And you know something? I heard him say something about Ferguson today. And I mentioned that I had a little conversation with Boss today. And we were talking about the contract. And I was telling him about Ferguson. I said, yeah, Ferguson had a pretty bad, not a great year last year. But I don't think he was utilized right. And lo and behold, then I go and look at the interview that's before I looked at the interview with Schottenheim. And Schottenheim talked about, when they talked about Jay Ferguson contract, he said the exact same thing I said. He said Jake didn't have the year that we expected last year, or his expectations. And he said, I didn't use him correctly. Because, Schottenheim he wasn't really in control of the offense, but he's taking accountability because he was the offensive coordinator. He said, we didn't use him correctly, and I didn't use him correctly. And they didn't. They made him a check down receiver throwing the ball outside the numbers at 5 and 10 yards. Or that same boot play where they boot and throw the ball in the flat to the tight end that everybody know that they've been running since 1942. That everybody can see it coming. But when you throwing the ball down the field in the seams and him on the move, you got a monster. And that's where he's going to be big at. But tight ends in the running game, running backs in the running game, in the pass game, and tight ends to get their catches, I would say this, and y'all can take this to the bank. If tight ends don't block well, they usually don't catch touchdowns. If they are very consistent in the run game, if the run game is successful, tight ends are going to get opportunities to make big-time catches. That's why Baltimore tight ends always do so well. Why? Because they're quality in the run game. That's why New England, when they had, I heard somebody talking about the great, listen, say what you want about the craziness of Hernandez, but Hernandez and Gronkowski, you can't even name the wide receiver on that team. When Gronkowski and Hernandez were together, they was a tight end dominated team. But they were awesome. But guess what they also could do? They had a consistent run game. If tight ends blocking the run game, their pass catching goes up. It becomes much, much easier. Tight ends that don't block in the run game, they start to find themselves very hard to get open. And then we'll be talking about their hybrids and got to go. And guess what? Tight ends that don't block real well, they might catch the ball real well, but guess what? They be on different teams every year. Tight ends can do both. Teams don't get rid of them. No. And guess what? I know some people I don't think, but listen, a tight end that can do both is the hardest matchup on the defense. because he's big. He's too big for a guy. Because tight ends and fullbacks are what we call hybrid guys, man. They can get in the mix with linemen. They can sometimes overpower linebackers. They too big for safeties. Sometimes they too fast for linebackers. It's get a great tight end on your team. Tell me your team that got a great tight end catching the ball and tell me how their offense is doing. Or tell me where they hit, how they finishing every year. If they might never win a championship, but tell me how they doing. Even Philadelphia had a very good tight end. Goddard ain't going nowhere. Now I ain't saying he got to be all world, but guess what? Goddard does a great job in the blocking in the running game, and he had a great Super Bowl because he caught a lot of great plays in the early part of the game. He might not caught a touchdown, but he hurt Kansas City. But I'm liking what I'm seeing with those type things. So we're going to see. Yeah, winning was slow, but listen, guess what? Witten was instrumental in the Bill Parsons years of getting that team to the playoffs. And Bill Parsons loved him because Bill Parsons, every year, he always had a dominant tight end. And he had to get that tight end that could block and catch. And he helped that team get better. Bill Parcells is one to discover with. And Witten was a hell of a blocker in his younger days. If you got a tight end that can block well, which their first job, I get in this argument with a lot of people. Everybody see tight ends, and the first thing they say, think their first job is catch the ball. Because know why? Because you don't get no points for fantasy football for blocking. So the first thing you say, man, that tight end ain't making me no fantasy football points because he ain't catching. But you know what his first job is? Your first job as a tight end is block. You know what you're going to do? Why I say that's your first job? Because you're going to block more than you're going to catch passes. You're probably going to block. You're going to be in a blocking situation probably 90% of the time you get on the line of scrimmage because you're going to be in-line blocking. So your first job is what you do the most. Y'all work at jobs and y'all say, well, you know, my job is to do so-and-so. You do that once a week. But all during the week, you do another job. But you say, oh, well, that's the really most important job. That's the job you get. But no. Your most important job is what you do the most. Be 100% of that. And we'll take 70 or 80% at the other job that you do. Give me a tight end that is a B+ blocker. I can get around if you're a C+ catcher. Because you ain't going to get that many opportunities. Listen, you're going to get some opportunity, but you're not going to be a frontline player when I got George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb on the team, plus I got throwing the ball to the running backs. I ain't looking for you to catch 100 passes. But guess what? I'm looking for you to make a block every damn play. And sometimes what I think with our linebackers, what kills us with our tight ends, as soon as they make some good catches, they have a great catching game, they get caught up in a doggone crowd. Everybody think they Rod Gronkowski, they think they a Hall of Fame pass catcher. Then they forget about blocking. Then they be missing blocks all over, and that running game get killed, but they going out trying to catch passes. And guess what? When they're not good run blockers, teams shut them off in the passing game. Think about it. When we have had good running games, our tight ends have caught touchdowns. When we can't run the ball, we struggle. Our tight ends struggle. Man, listen, man. I'm giving y'all something that they talk about that they don't talk about on the media, that coaches talk about in the back rooms. When you can't run the ball and you can't make those plays on tight end blocking, and you don't have to make the guys make sure they load up on you because they're so scared that you're going to set the edge, that you're going to make the cutoff block, that you're going to knock a linebacker out, or you're going to catch a safety and ear hole a safety and get him out there, and we're gonna have a 50-yard run. And they have to really depend on making sure that they squeeze down on your blocking in the run game. When they do that, and then we go play action, you up on top of them already, and they already in a bad situation, and you can make catches easy because they braces themselves for the run game. Because if they don't respect you in the run game, then you play you to shell you in because they know you just only a pass catcher, and we can shut you down because you're not that guy. And the best players you are is in the play action pass game. But the only way you can make the play action pass game as a tight end and get open is you got to be efficient in the run game. Tight ends. If any one of y'all got any kids out here in tight ends, your first job is to be the best blocker you can be. If you can't be a blocker, go to wide receiver. And then you got your job is to be a great blocker. And if you can't block, guess what you're going to end up in? Unless you some out of the world catcher, you're going to find you a third, fourth wide receiver. And third, fourth wide receivers, their main job is blocking. Because they're not going to get as many opportunities to catch the ball. So when we look at this team, when I look at Tolbert now, when I look at the guy we got in the draft pick from Mississippi now, they better be some damn good blockers. Or they better be on the sideline. All the fourth, third, and fourth wide receivers, they better be some excellent blockers. Or they'll be sitting on the sideline with me because I could get anybody to go out there and make the 30 and 40 catches they're going to get in the year. Because the third wide receiver ain't going to get them about 40, maybe 45 catches, if that much. He may get 2 or 3 targets a game. If that much. The third wide receiver ain't going to go in the game and get 15 targets. If he did, that means the wide receiver 1 or 2 got hurt and you don't move them up in the number 2 and number 1 situation. So if you ain't getting that many targets and you in plays, your job is what? Every time it's a run play, you better make your block. Every time it's a pass play and you out there, you better be known for being a hell of a blocker. So CeeDee Lamb talked about being a good blocker, but Tolbert, all the other receivers, that's not number 1 and 2. Your number 1 and 2 need to be great blockers, but those other guys, they better be out there laying defensive backs out. Because if they don't, Schottenheimer needs to either get rid of them and bring somebody else in that's going to do the dirty work or have them on the sideline. Because, like I said, for a championship team, everybody got to do their role, and they got to do their role greatly. And they got to do their role to finish. So, like I said, listen, man, y'all excite me with all the comments y'all have sent in there, man. I hear a lot of people in there talking about, making some very good comments, man. And speaking to each other, man, and I heard somebody say about the UCLA guy make a big difference. Listen, when you got rookies, I see somebody say something about the UCLA defensive tackle, Jay. Too low. I mean, not great. Excuse me, young man, if I mispronounce your name, and I'm not great at announcing the name. I'm not good at remembering names. I don't know if I may have been concussed playing football back in the day when we had concussions and we still played. But anyway, every rookie on this team, all I'm asking them to do is, all we trying to do is to find out what they do well. Even Tyler Booker. And we're going to put them in a spot early on to do that over and over again to build their confidence, and then we're going to expand them to getting other stuff well. Now, Tyler Booker, you're going to say, well, if he's starting out there, we're going to have to throw the old kid sick in it. well, he may, but we're going to it's still a work in progress of getting him ramped up. But these other guys, even that pass rushing young man, all these other guys, we're going to give them specific jobs, and we're going to ask them just to do that one job well. We're not going to go in there and tell the one tech, okay, I want you to go out here and play 75% of the plays and cover the 3 gap. Lock this run down. Get to the pass. Work on your pass rush. Work on getting the slide technique. Work on the exchanges and all that. No, we're not going to do all that. That's too much of us. Just overload. And what you're going to end up is get a failure, because once he starts making mistakes, he's going to lose his confidence, and then you're going to lose him for the rest of the season. What I'm going to ask this young man to do from UCLA is, hey, there's going to be one package that you come in the game in during the preseason, and damn it, I want you to do that well. Because I see that you can stop the B gap. You are good stopping things going to your left. I'm going to put you in a situation where that's what holds you. You're going to stop. I want you to stand strong, beat the block, play physical. That's what you do. That's what you came here. Same thing I'm asking you to do. I'm going to do that one thing. And as you start doing that well and start building confidence, then I may start to expand your role. But I think what we do is we see a guy and we put unrealistic expectations on rookies, even though they 5th or 6th round draft picks. And then when they don't do it, and we just get in one role and we trying to help them develop, then we think that we need to throw them away and get another person. I coach high school football. Check this out. There's guys that come in as freshmen and sophomores who are not ready for high school football. But by the time they get better as a sophomore, they get better as a junior, and by the time some guys take 2 years, and then when you see them as a senior, you be like, oh, that guy must be like that all the time. No, he wasn't. So what I ask you to do is, when y'all see a guy, when we look at our draft picks, let me give y'all a little research that y'all can do on your own. And you're not going to get this research from other people. Okay? And this is not going to always be the case, but in most cases, it's going to be the case. Take all the players that you see on the Cowboys that may be on there for maybe rookies or been there 2 or 3 years. I didn't say nothing about watching film, because some people going to say, first thing you're going to say about watching film. Yes, film is great evaluation. But what I want you to do is, I want you to go to their bios in college. And I want you to pull up their years in college. Look what their freshman year, look at their production in their freshman year. Then look at their production in their sophomore year. And then look at their production in their junior year. And then look at their production in the year before they got drafted or they got on this team. And let me tell you, the levels of their growth in college is usually going to match the levels of growth in the NFL. So if you look at a guy and you say, well, he didn't do too much at all in the freshman year when he was at so-and-so school, well, how he got drafted? And then you look at his sophomore year and say, oh, shucks. And then you look at his junior year and say, oh. Then you look at his senior year like, that's how he got drafted. Did he look like that when he was a freshman? I keep telling people about Mozzie. Mozzie went to Michigan. Mozzie didn't come to Michigan. Yes, he came there as an all-world high school player. But his freshman year in Michigan was not that great. His sophomore year was a little bit better, but he exploded his junior and senior year. And he got to be a first-round draft pick. Jalen Tolbert wasn't that good his first year at Alabama. Not Alabama, but his college. But every year, Jalen Tolbert got better. So he got him to be a third-round draft pick. Hasn't Jalen Tolbert got better every year? Yeah. We're looking for something outrageous. We expect a guy to come in and from college and say, oh, we're going to pick up where you left off. That's certain players. Everybody's not Michael Parsons. But Michael Parsons should be getting better from his rookie year. There's very few players that come step on the field and start off at the beginning, just become wide open superstars. But our expectations as fans, we don't. So listen, look at whatever player you're talking about. There's a young player on our team. Go to their bios, look what their stats and how they progress. Look at what people said when they was a freshman. Look what they said if they was a sophomore. Look what they said a junior. And you can look at see right before they got drafted, you can see why they are on this team, why they got drafted. And you're gonna see that they got better in the progression. So usually it takes the same amount of progression when they get to the pros. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer, a tad bit longer. Why? Because you don't have as much practice time in the pros that you have in college. Now, you got more time to dedicate to your craft because you're a professional and there is no class and stuff. You're a professional football player then. But there is a little bit more practice time in college than it is in the pros. But also, the level of competition you practice against in the pros is better, which might help you get up to speed a little faster. But usually, young players had to change, adjust to the speed of the game from high school to college. And sometimes it took them a couple of years to get it all where the game slowed down. And usually that's the same thing they would have to do in the pros. And maybe some of y'all might pump your brakes a little bit on some of our players. So just do that research before you start chumping at the bits and saying how guys are just total bust. Think about it. They may have came into college, even though they might have been 5-star when they came into college, but they may not start out slow. But those guys, they got drafted. The reason why they got drafted because a lot of scouts look at your progression as a player. And they say, hey, we want guys that can progress. And we don't think that they have reached their ceiling. And sometimes being an all-star is not what every player is going to be. But it's some of the parts is what we want to do. Remember, Schottenheimer is doing a great job of building this culture. To recap right quick. Well, first one we talked about Jake Ferguson deal. It's good for Jake Ferguson to get a deal. It's really $7 million per year. If he outplays it, fine. We got to have some concern about the concussions he's had. But I think this offense is going to open him up to do much better levels. And the Cowboys may look at it as a very big deal, a very cheap deal, a very home run deal. But understand, when Cowboys sign deals like that out of the clear blue sky extension, they got sweetheart deals. And sometimes the player was feeling a little anxious about just securing something for his future. So that's just how it is. But let's look at when you get these contracts, look at their back, look at the out. And the out means what? When coach told you what the out means, the out means is when we can get out of this contract, we can release a player where the dead money is not going to be over 10 million, or we can split it under 10 million, because under 10 million dead money is now a real hurt to a team as the salary cap goes up. But when that's the out, when they can get out the contract, not without paying, but when they feel that they can get out the contract with minimal damage or hurt of dead money. So when you see contracts, take that in account. Schottenheimer did say when we talked about this team, he did talk about building calluses. He's trying to get this team tougher mentally. Somebody said that in the chat. Yes, he is trying to get this team tougher mentally. Where you build mental toughness through physicality. And then you start building mental toughness by being in competition level. So that's what he's trying to build. And again, it goes back to my 5 building blocks of a culture that we need. Physicality, discipline, number 2, mental toughness, number 3, coaching/leadership, and talent. And that talent is talent development. And then I talked about what is only 4 things that a coach can do with talent. He can't make the talent. He can only acquire it. And his job is with the talented players, or whatever their talent is to motivate that person, that talent, to refine that talent skills. Whatever the talent person is, he's supposed to refine it. He's supposed to sharpen those skills of that talent player and make that talent player sharpen his skills. And then he's supposed to hold that talent accountable. He should hold that player accountable for the talent that he has and should take nothing less for that talent player giving his best and showing his talent. And then the fourth thing, he has to put that talented player in a great position for that talented player to shine. He can hurt that talented player by putting him in a bad situation. I like what we're doing, throwing the ball to the tight ends. I hope that continues. I hope it continues that we use our running backs as a weapon. It's going to open the field. It's going to make the down and distance better. It's going to help the running game as well as the passing game. And it's going to open up the field for CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens to make big plays, not just plays. I thank y'all again, man, for listening to me, man. I thank y'all for being a part of this journey I'm going on into this podcast and this YouTube channel world. It is a very scary proposition to me. I never thought that in my wildest dream that I'll be on camera talking about the sport I love well and the team I love as much and being able to give everything to you, because I'm giving you stuff that they talk behind the wall. They're not going to talk about it because these are not the topics or the philosophy they like to talk. They're not newsworthy. They're not sexy. But guess what? These are the substance. Nobody talks about the pepper and the seasoning and the prep of the seasoning and of the food. They talk about what type of meat you bought, and they talk about the cook, and they talk about the end result. But nobody talks about the prep. But the prep is what makes the meal. The prep is what makes the meal. So nobody talks about other stuff, but I'm going to talk about the grassroots that's going to make this team real. Hopefully they're living on this philosophy of work. Remember that I always talk about work. That's all this team needs is work. And remember what my philosophy of work is. Work. W stands for will. You got to have the will of a person. O is for over. R is for rest. Will over rest kicks ass. The K stands for kicks butt or kicks ass. What do you want to say? I'm sorry, we on Sunday, but that's what it stands for. So your will has to be over your willingness, your wanting to rest, so you can kick ass. And as I always say, those who sweat more in peace gonna bleed less in war. Until next time, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this information to all your people in your genre of your Cowboys things. Please tune into our other content creators as they come on tonight and give you the greatest content about the Cowboys. We may disagree on certain things, but they are the same focus that I am. If you want to put something to the channel, my Cash App, I hadn't got monetized yet. My Cash App is $PBS. That's P in Paul, B as in boy, S as in Sam. That's $PBS 222. PBS 222. That's my Cash App. If you can give anything or if you feel in your heart, but this liking and subscribing and comment is enough for me. But if you want anything, you want to donate so we can make sure that we can have consistency in this show and I can get some graphics and stuff like that and get the stuff. But thank you so much for joining in. Enjoy your rest of your Sunday. And that's the way we're going to get to 6 and we're going to get that together. Peace.